Hey, it's Bobby from Raytown Productions, and today I'm doing a tutorial on how I mix the vocals for Sydnee B's song, Girls of Summer. I'll just give you a little sample of what that song sounds like mixed. So it sounds pretty good. I'll show you what it sounds like unmixed so you know what professionally tracked vocals sound like as they're recorded. So it gives us a pretty good starting point.
So tell me what am I to do? Too many girls to choose, all of them sexy as they can
And then after mixing, it sounds like this.
be. So I guess I can't lose. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. I gotta have them all. Club packed, wall to wall. I gotta make my move. Give me a drink, matter of fact, make it two. I came to get drunk and act a fool. Hopefully lead the club, catch a cab with you. If you say...
So what you hear is the mixed vocals sound a lot thicker. They have a bigger space around them, and they're more consistent, whereas the unmixed vocals sound kind of bright and brittle, and they're very thin. If you put the original vocals in the song, you can hear how the song actually kind of overtakes the vocals, and it doesn't sound big, like a big modern pop production. And then if we go back to the mixed vocals, okay, so this video is going to give you an overview of my vocal chain without getting into too much detail for each of the different compressors and plugins that I use. But I will make a follow-up video that will go more in depth with my thoughts behind all the decisions I made. So almost all of my hip hop and rap vocals start with a multi-band compressor. And so I'm using Waves C6. Basically what it's doing is it's changing the balance of the low frequency information from the vocals and the high frequency information and making it more airy and present and removing some of the muddy low frequency information. So I'll put this in the mix for you so you can hear it. We'll start with it bypassed.
So tell me what am I to do? Too many girls to choose, all of them sexy as they can be. So I guess I can't lose. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. I gotta have them all. Club packed, wall to wall.
So you can hear how it brings out the airiness of the vocals. So to do this, we boost the high end by a lot. I'm boosting by 12 dB and almost 6 dB from about 4K and up. But the trick is I'm also reducing or compressing very heavily these same frequency bands. So what that does is it brightens up all the frequencies of vocals. So it puts a lot of air and top end to it. And at that point, it's too bright. And then by lowering the threshold and knocking down some of those peaks that go over that threshold, it'll balance the frequencies out. So it's acting as like a de-esser, if you're familiar with that. And so it gives the top end a nice smooth polish that's really common in a lot of the modern vocal productions. And then also the two lower bands help to scoop out any of the low frequency buildup that might be occurring when the vocals are changing their pitch or tone. After the multiband compressor, I like to compress my vocals again, and this helps to bring out a little bit more aggression from the vocals. I am using the Waves CLA 76. I love this compressor. It just does such a great job making the vocals sound very aggressive. And so these are the settings I've used, a 4:1 ratio. My attack is pretty fast. Release is very fast. I'm reducing by about 3 to 5 dB. So sometimes you can go crazy with this and have 20 dB of gain reduction. It'll sound good, but for this particular song, we don't want the vocals to be that aggressive. The attack is very fast, but it's dialed back just a little bit so that the transients can go through. So that's like the spittiness of the vocal. And the release is set as fast as possible to give it a very in-your-face kind of delivery. If you do a slow release, the vocals sound pushed farther back, and I'll demonstrate this for you. So fast release.
Choose all of them sexy as they can be, so I guess I can't lose. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. I gotta have them all. Club packs, wall to wall.
So you can see when the release is really fast, the vocals sound way more up in your face. So that's important for this style of music. Then I have a de-esser that I always put on after my vocal compressor. This helps to take out any of those bright sounds or consonants from the vocal delivery that are brought out from this compressor. You can watch it attenuate the consonants here. So that also helps to smooth out the top end a little bit. This is a pretty cool thing that I just recently started playing with. This is called Little Altar Boy, and it's by Soundtoys. And this adds another voice to the track. So you can manipulate it. I have it set to generate an octave voice. And then you can also add distortion, change the formant, which gives it a different kind of tone. If you have it turned all the way up, it sounds crazy. But if you dial it back, you can tuck it in just so that it's barely heard, and it really thickens up the vocals. It's perfect for this type of song.
So tell me what am I to do? Too many girls to choose, all of them sexy as they can be. So I guess
right there is a good spot. Okay, so then after I thicken the vocals that way, I just go through and find a spot where the vocals sound boomy or muddy and resonant. And that's typically because this Altar Boy plugin will add some low frequency mud. So I found some around 288 hertz and just took out all the mud there. And lastly, to tighten everything up, I add a limiter. So I'm using Waves L1, and I'm just finding the right amount of threshold just to make the entire delivery consistent. We're only taking a few dB off as the vocals are being performed, but this really helps to bring clarity to the vocal performance.
So tell me what am I to do? Too many girls to choose, all of them sick.
So you can see there's barely any gain reduction happening.
Sexy as they can be, so I guess I can't lose. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. I gotta have them all. Club packs, wall to wall.
So again, all this is doing is just bringing the performance a little bit closer to the listener and smoothing out the dynamics to make it very consistent. So this is how it sounds before. So there you have it. That is my plug-in chain for pop and rap vocals. I'll be making a follow-up video to talk about some of the effects I add on the vocals, like the delays and reverbs, so be sure to check that out. If there's any questions you guys have, please leave them in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up. I'll be putting out more videos like this in the future to help with vocal and hip-hop production. So be sure to stay tuned and subscribe to get those videos straight to you. So thanks again, and see you next time.